Hey Jaders, welcome back to the Jade Archives. You remember Meng Zhao-guo, right? The guy from rural China who somehow predicted the Jupiter comet collision, an event he should have had zero way of knowing about. The farm worker who got knocked unconscious just by looking through binoculars at a UFO. Well, I didn't tell you everything. There's a reason Meng stayed silent for years. A reason he pretended to have amnesia. And when he finally came clean, it pushed his story into territory that even the most hardcore UFO researchers struggle to talk about. We're not just talking about alien lights in the sky anymore, we're talking about something far more intimate, far more controversial. Today we're diving into the close encounters of the seventh kind. And I know what you're thinking. Seventh? Yeah, it goes that far. And it's exactly what it sounds like. This is the story of a man from rural China who says he fathered a child with an alien. Yeah, let's get into it. So before we get into the heavy stuff, and trust me, it gets heavy, we need to talk about the close encounter scale. It was created by this astronomer named J. Allen Hynek. And here's the ironic part. He started out as a total UFO skeptic, like hardcore debunker. But over the years, the evidence started piling up, and by the end of his career, he'd become a believer. If you're already a UFO buff and know your levels inside and out, feel free to skip ahead to Chapter 2, I won't be offended. Back in 1972, Hynek wrote this book called The UFO Experience, where he laid out the first three categories, close encounter of the first kind. You see something weird in the sky, like a high-tech craft, but it's at least 500 feet away. You see it, it looks cool, but it doesn't actually touch anything or interact with you. Just there. Close encounter of the second kind. This is when things get a bit more real. The UFO actually leaves a physical mark. Maybe it scorches the grass where it landed. Or the witness ends up with a weird sunburn-like rash just from being near it. Physical evidence. Close encounter of the third kind. This is the one most people know. This is when you actually see the occupants, the beings. Usually there's no talking or kidnapping involved. You're just catching a glimpse of them from a distance, like seeing a neighbour you don't recognise through a window. Now, because Hynek's system was such a hit in both the science and sci-fi worlds, other researchers like Jacques Vallée and some hardcore enthusiasts started adding more levels. By the 80s, the mystery started feeling a lot more personal. Close encounter of the fourth kind. Abduction. And this is that scary missing time stuff. Waking up on a cold table, bright lights overhead, not knowing how you got there. Classic. But not everyone wanted to be a victim. That led to the fifth kind, where we actually reach out to them first, using signals, meditation, intentional contact, basically knocking on their front door. Then things take a dark turn. Close encounter of the sixth kind, death. People getting fatal radiation sickness, those bizarre cattle mutilations that make absolutely no sense. The kind of stuff that keeps investigators up at night. But the final level, that's the seventh kind. And it's the most intimate one of all. Hybridization. We're talking about a biological merger, creating a new life form that's part human, part something else. So if you watched episode 1, everything we talked about, the UFO on the mountain, the red light from the raincoat man's fingertip, the trip to the spaceship, the glass cube showing Jupiter, that's all basically a fourth kind encounter, classic abduction and examination stuff. But where does the seventh kind come in? Well, a long time after the initial craze died down, Meng finally admitted to the media that he'd been hiding a huge part of the story. He was just too ashamed to say it. Turns out he didn't actually have amnesia after he was knocked out on the mountain. He remembered everything. The reason he was acting so crazy at the clinic, twitching, screaming, clawing at his eyes, wasn't just a reaction to metal. It was because there was a female alien standing right in front of him, and only he could see her. He was absolutely terrified. All that twitching and screaming. He wasn't fighting the stethoscope. He was screaming, "Stay away from me!" to a being that no one else in the room could see. Even after they sent him home, she followed him. He stayed in bed for days, pretending to sleep because he was too scared to face her. But eventually he realised she wasn't there to hurt him. And then things took a turn. They ended up uniting. He described it as feeling himself float up while the female alien moved beneath him. This state lasted for about 40 minutes. In his mind, this wasn't just contact, it was a biological merger, a hybridization. But once they were finished, the female alien just left. She vanished and never showed her face again. Before he left the ship on that night of July 16th, he even asked them, "Will I ever see her again?" The aliens told him, "No." But they did tell him one more thing. "Within 60 years, your child will be born on another planet. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get to see your kid one day." And just like that, the case officially hit the 7th kind level. Over the years, tons of organisations and experts have swarmed that forest farm to investigate. Most of them have ruled out the idea that the villagers just made it all up together. Why? Because all the witnesses described the UFO differently. They used different words, saw it from different angles. If they'd rehearsed a lie, their stories would have been perfectly identical. But these felt like real, individual accounts. As for Meng himself, he didn't really get anything out of this. If anything, it kind of ruined his life. He didn't get rich. He didn't get famous. He just got decades of people calling him a liar. Since there's no physical evidence, just his word, the skeptics have always shouted louder than the believers. But his niece's husband, he's been interviewed separately many times over the years, and his description of that metallic ship on the mountain is 100% identical to Meng's. In September 2003, Meng even agreed to a polygraph test while under deep hypnosis. He calmly walked through the whole experience again. The mountain, the aliens, the female, the ship, the Jupiter cube. And the lie detector didn't show a single hiccup. But look, I'll be honest with you. The part about the alien girlfriend and the spaceship, it could have been a very vivid dream or a hallucination caused by whatever force hit him on that mountain. Our brains do weird things under extreme stress or unknown stimuli, but here's what I keep coming back to. The Jupiter prediction, the timing, the specificity. A man with a 5th grade education who'd never left his village, who had no access to scientific journals or news about astronomy, somehow knew about comet fragments hitting Jupiter hours before it happened. That's the part I can't shake. The hybridization story? That's harder to verify. It lives in the realm of personal experience. But the Jupiter part, that's objective, that's documented, and that's what makes this case so haunting. So Jaders, what do you think? Is Meng Zhao-guo a master storyteller who missed his calling? A man who experienced something real but misinterpreted parts of it? Or is there actually a hybrid child out there somewhere in the stars, carrying his DNA, waiting to meet their father within the next few decades? Drop a comment and let me know what you believe. And hey, if you're new here and you missed part 1, go back and watch it. Trust me, the Jupiter connection will blow your mind. Until more stories untold in Jade unfold, see you next time.